So, finding my space as a musician. What is finding your space? I'm still figuring it out, and I'm sure a lot of people here in the audience as well are just figuring things out, what they want to do with their lives and stuff like that. So you could be finding your space doing anything you choose. It could be whether you're an artist, it could be finding your space as a person maybe. And so today I'm going to talk about my journey in finding my space or my niche or my one unique thing as a musician. Now, being that I'm only 19 and I am a singer, an aspiring songwriter, there's a lot left for me to explore. I'm only 19, I haven't done that much. So today I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about my experiences so far and where they have brought me and what I've done to overcome some stuff and what I hope to do in the future as well. So I grew up in a family that loved music, supports music 100%. And I remember every week my family and I would sit right staring at the television, waiting for one of these singing competition reality shows to play on television. And I'm talking, we were on point every week sitting at the television, watching every episode. We wouldn't miss it, even if it was for anything. We would record it and then watch it over again. And I would watch these musicians perform on stage, and I would want to be them. I would want to perform on stage doing what I loved. And it's been my dream since I was 5 years old. So being a 5-year-old who was shy, who was introverted, it was a bit difficult to really find out how I wanted to step into this career option that I've chosen. I was so introverted to the point that I would feel so uncomfortable talking to strangers that I would hide. I would feel so uncomfortable that I would feel scared. Like I couldn't move, I couldn't talk to people. And a lot of people would ask me, how were you an introverted child? Because I used to do a few ads when I was younger. And it's not the same, because when you do advertisements, it's acting. You're putting on a character. It's not really how you feel. And plus, no one is coming up to you and asking you, hi, I'm this person, do you remember me? So I never really thought this was a problem until once in 2014, I was called to do my first ever live performance in this concert in Chennai. Amongst other musicians, bands, a friend of mine was performing, and I was nervous. But I was also excited, being that it was my first ever live performance in front of an audience who weren't just my parents or my friends. And I showed up perfectly punctual for sound check with my dad. And I went up to the stacks of chairs laid out for the audience, and I stood there. I was watching the band sound check, the band who was going before me, and suddenly I couldn't move. I was frozen. I couldn't take 5 steps to go find the coordinator and tell him, hi, I'm Zoe. I'm here for sound check. I couldn't. I spent an hour and a half begging my dad to go find the coordinator and talk to him for me because I just couldn't. It's like everything in my body shut down at that moment. I begged him so much. I told him that I would never ask him to do anything like this again. I just needed him to do this one thing for me. And I was so angry when he refused. But I'm so thankful also because to this day I remember the sentence he told me. He was like, if you can't do this on your own, then you shouldn't be doing music at all. And I was a bit ashamed because in the end, the coordinator came to me and said, hi, are you Zoe? Are you here for sound check? And I was like, yeah. But I was ashamed. That evening I told myself I would never, ever, ever feel that way again. I would never put myself in that situation where I couldn't move when I was doing something that I loved. So I pushed. I kind of forced myself to come out of my shell a little bit. I started posting on YouTube a lot more. Nobody was watching except my friends and family, but I did it. I created stuff. I did homemade videos. Whatever it was, I posted it on the internet. I started performing in my school, in plays. I took part in competitions. It was not easy. I remember my first music competition in school, I sang the whole song shaking. And you could hear it in my voice, I was just shaking. But it's all experiences that you have to go through eventually to get to where you want to go. So then what I did was I followed my passion of music to college. I started studying music, the one thing that I wanted to do, and I had this like perfect future planned. In my mind, it was I was going to go to college, I was going to make a band, I was going to be good in college, I was going to know everything, I was going to perform, I was going to earn money, I was going to go to LA later. The only thing was I didn't really think about how everything was going to happen. I went to college with the support of my parents, and my first year started. It was very different from what I expected. It was difficult. I found myself not knowing many of these things. I had to start from scratch because I was never trained. So this time when I got a teacher, she told me whatever I was singing was wrong because I was hurting my throat instead of taking care of it and preserving it for the many years to come. And I had to start from scratch. I ended up finding myself amongst many genres. I didn't know which one I wanted to be in. I found myself liking elements of everything. I got lost a bit because I wasn't happy with what I was writing. I wasn't really feeling my songs. I wasn't connecting as much. I was just lost, and I was starting to worry about my future. I was giving up a little bit. And then in summer, I saw the ads for this stage 3, which is this English singing competition in India, the first one ever. And I was like, this is something that I've been watching since I was young. This is something that's finally here in India. This is something that I could possibly do. Why shouldn't I try? It's an opportunity. If I get in, that's amazing. If I don't, it's fine. I'm not losing anything. So I auditioned, and I found myself going to the next audition, which was in Bangalore. And then I heard nothing. Not one word, not one phone call. I didn't know what was happening, and eventually I realized they didn't choose me. And the old me would have immediately stopped there and said, you know what, it's fine, you did good, try again next time. But I don't know what came over me this time. I was in college, I was studying, but at the same time I was thinking about this. So I noticed that people were tagging on social media, the judges, the show, the production. And I was like, what's the harm in that? So I would post a video and then I would tag everyone, hoping that they would see it and hoping that they'd want me on their show. And nothing. And I remember the last day, the deadline for these online auditions. It was the 15th of September, and I was just about to go to sleep. And I said, you know what, I've tagged them, but I haven't sent it to them personally. So what I did was I took the same video and I sent it to them, to their message inbox on Instagram. And I went to sleep, not hoping for anything. It was just like something I did. And the next morning I woke up to 2 responses from 2 of the judges on the show. And next thing I know, they've asked me to do another Facebook audition. And next thing you know, I'm in the top 50 and I've been called to Mumbai. I literally, in 3 days, had to tell my college, I'm leaving, I'm going back to India. I don't know for how long, but I will update you and I will do my work. So please don't kick me out or make me redo the semester, because I will do my work and I will come back. Because I didn't really expect much. I was like, okay, I'm going to go, I'm going to do as well as I can, learn as much as I can, and then leave, go back to college and keep that as something that I would remember forever. Turns out I had to stay a little longer. The competition was heavy. I was improving throughout. I was failing at points. There were times where I was so close to going home that I would have to push and fight by singing to stay in the competition. And I told myself, you weren't confident before, you just wanted to come here for the experience. But now you are doing a little better, so why not be confident enough to take it all the way to the end? So I told myself that I wanted to see myself stand on the final day and sing the final song. And if I did that, I would be very happy with myself. Because I would have never dreamed that that would happen. Because I just didn't have the confidence. And I pushed, I learned, of course, with the support of the people I met, the teachers, my parents, the judges. And I ended up standing on that final day, singing that final song. I didn't win, but for me, I didn't really need to win. I just needed to be there and sing. And I did. And that's when I realized that I made this happen. If I gave up at the point where I didn't hear back from them, I wouldn't be here. I would be still in college, still a little bit confused and lost. And then I realized a little thing, as just a push, can make you go so far without you even knowing. I did that. From the beginning to the end, I did it. Of course, I did it with the help of my teachers, my parents, everyone I met along the way. But I did it. And I am the only person who can take myself to that level, to the next level. And that's what I learned. And that's what I think everyone should learn, is to never give up. Because you can go to places you want to go if you just try a little bit and have a little bit of hope. And that was it. That was like a turning point for me. After that, everything kind of clicked. I was no longer lost and confused. Instead, I embraced the fact that I liked a lot of genres. I embraced that I was floating amongst all of these different variations of music. And I decided that I wanted to be that. I wanted to be who I am as an artist. I wanted to sing the way I sing. I wanted to be stylistic in certain aspects the way I am. And it's not confusion and I'm not lost. It's just that I specifically want to be in this area, which is taking elements from whatever. It can be anything. So instead of being that lost and confused and don't know what I'm going to do in my life, I ended up knowing or kind of finding a direction in which I wanted to go. I'm only 19. There's so much more for me to see. But at least now the pathway is a little bit clear. So I know where I'm going. I know what I want to accomplish. And I know the steps I need to take to go there. And what I did is, immediately after the show, I wrote a song. And I realized that when I compared it to what I've written before, it was very different. The style was different. The words meant something. The words were something I connected with because I felt it. And this is something that I had never done before because I didn't really have much that I learned or experienced in a way that could affect my music and who I am as an artist. So I wrote this song called Find Me. In a way, I wrote it for myself because it's about a musician who's just trying to find her way. It can relate to anybody who's trying to find their way in anything they want to do. But this I wrote for myself, and so I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to perform it for y'all here today, to kind of maybe give you an idea of what I was talking about. So I really hope you like it.